Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive?
Always.
All right, well today we're exploring the Vigyan Bhairava Tantra.
Oh,
It's
cool.
an ancient text
hmm
with, get this, 112 different meditation techniques.
Wow, that's a lot.
I know. Talk about options.
Yeah.
So we're not going to be able to cover all 112 techniques in this deep dive, obviously, but
Right.
we're going to be focusing on one in particular,
Okay.
and it's called awareness of sleep and waking states.
Interesting.
I don't know about you, but I've always been curious about what happens in that like twilight zone between being awake and falling asleep.
For sure.
Like what even happens there?
Most people just rush through it
Right.
on the way to dreamland.
Totally.
But the Vigyan Bhairava Tantra
Yeah.
suggests that there's a lot to discover in that transition.
Oh, what is
if
that?
we just slow down and pay attention.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
So instead of like zoning out, we're supposed to become aware of that transition?
Exactly.
Huh.
Yeah.
Honestly, it sounds kind of difficult. I'm usually out like a light.
It's not about forcing yourself to stay awake.
Ooh.
The key is gentle observation.
Okay.
Just noticing the subtle shifts in your body and mind as you drift off.
Ah, so like a scientist observing a phenomenon.
Exactly.
Okay, I can get behind that.
Yeah.
Can you like walk me through the steps? What does this actually look like in practice?
So it's actually pretty simple.
Okay.
You just lie down comfortably as if you're going to sleep.
Okay.
Close your eyes.
Mhm.
Take a few deep breaths to relax.
Okay.
And then just bring your attention to the sensations and thoughts as they begin to change.
So no mantras,
Mm,
no visualizations,
not for this one.
just pure observation.
Just pure observation.
So what kinds of things should I be noticing? Like what's the aha moment here?
It's less about searching for a specific aha moment
Okay.
and more about becoming aware of the subtle nuances of the transition itself.
Okay.
You might notice your thoughts slowing down,
Okay.
your body feeling heavy, maybe even a sense of peace washing over you.
So we're essentially training our minds to be mindful,
Yes.
even as we're falling asleep.
Exactly.
Sneaking in a little self-awareness practice before dreamland.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool.
It is cool.
So how is this different from other mindfulness techniques?
Oh, that's a great question.
Like where you focus on your breath or something?
So with this technique, you're leveraging a natural transition in our consciousness.
Oh, okay.
We're not trying to manipulate or control our state of mind.
Okay.
Just observe it as it naturally shifts from wakefulness to sleep.
Mhm.
And that, according to the Vigyan Bhairava Tantra,
Yeah.
is where the magic happens.
Okay, I'm hooked. Now spill the beans.
Uh-huh.
What are the benefits? You piqued my curiosity.
Well, for one,
Yeah.
for one of the most immediate benefits is deep relaxation.
Oh, wow.
Imagine falling asleep each night feeling like you're melting into your bed.
That sounds amazing,
Right.
especially after a long day.
Right.
But I have to ask, is there more to it than just a good night's sleep? Yeah, definitely.
It feels like there's got to be something deeper going on here.
You're absolutely right. This technique is about more than just relaxation. Remember how we talked about that space between wakefulness and sleep? That liminal space? It's like a bridge between your conscious and subconscious mind.
Liminal space. I like the sound of that. But honestly, I'm having a little trouble picturing what that means in practical terms. What does it actually feel like?
Okay, so think of it as like a threshold,
Okay.
a doorway between two worlds.
Okay.
You're not fully awake,
Right.
but you're not quite asleep either.
Okay.
It's a state of heightened suggestibility, where the barriers between your conscious thoughts and deeper subconscious patterns begin to dissolve.
Okay. That makes sense. But how does simply observing this transition lead to self-discovery? What kind of insights can you actually gain?
As you become more familiar with this liminal space, you might start to notice recurring thoughts,
Okay.
emotions, or images that emerge.
Mm-hmm.
These can offer valuable clues about your subconscious beliefs, fears, and desires. So things you might not be aware of in your waking life.
Exactly.
It's like peering behind the curtain of your everyday thoughts,
Yeah.
catching a glimpse of what's really driving you.
Exactly. And as you become more comfortable with this practice, you may even find yourself able to work through those subconscious blocks or limiting beliefs.
Oh,
It's like having a direct line to your inner therapist.
wow, that's powerful. So we're not just talking about relaxation here, but potentially profound personal growth. Honestly, though, part of me is still a little skeptical.
Sure.
Is there any scientific evidence to back this up?
Yeah.
Or is this purely based on ancient wisdom?
That's a great question, and one that researchers are starting to explore. While the Vigyan Bhairava Tantra comes from a long tradition of yogic practice, Modern science is beginning to understand the neurological and psychological benefits of like mindfulness and meditation, including practices that focus on the sleep transition.
So it's not just mystical mumbo jumbo.
Uh-huh.
There's actually some science backing up these claims.
Exactly. Studies on mindfulness and sleep are revealing that paying attention to the transition into sleep can lead to a calmer mind and body, reduce stress, and even improved sleep quality.
That's really reassuring to hear.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't trust ancient wisdom, but I do appreciate a little scientific validation.
Yeah.
And speaking of fascinating connections, you mentioned earlier that this technique has something to do with lucid dreaming.
Oh, yeah.
That really piqued my interest.
Yes. This practice of observing the subtle shifts in consciousness as you fall asleep can actually be a gateway to lucid dreaming.
Okay, hold on. That sounds incredible. Lucid dreaming. Being aware that you're dreaming while you're in a dream? Is that even real? And how does this technique make it possible? So we're talking about actually being aware that we're dreaming like while we're dreaming.
Yeah.
And potentially even influencing what happens in the dream.
Yeah. It's pretty
It's like stepping into a whole other reality.
It really is. The Vigyan Bhairava Tantra might not like give a step-by-step guide to like controlling your dreams, but it highlights the importance of becoming a witness to those subtle shifts in consciousness as you fall asleep. It's like training your mind to stay alert.
Okay.
And that awareness can carry over into the dream state.
So it's not about forcing ourselves to have a lucid dream,
Right.
but more about building this foundation of awareness
Exactly.
through observing the sleep transition.
Exactly. You're essentially cultivating a sensitivity to the subtle fluctuations of consciousness.
Okay.
Whether you're falling asleep, dreaming, or even wide awake.
Wow.
It's like sharpening your inner senses.
That's so fascinating. It's amazing how this ancient technique ties into modern concepts like mindfulness
Right.
and even neuroscience.
Yes. They were onto something all those centuries ago.
Absolutely. And imagine the possibilities if we could consciously tap into the world of dreams,
Yeah.
the potential for self-discovery, creative inspiration,
Yeah.
overcoming fears. It's mind-boggling.
Okay, you've convinced me. So for our listeners who are ready to try this tonight. Yeah.
Where do they begin?
Okay, so the first step is simply to start noticing.
Okay.
So tonight, as you lie down to sleep, pay attention.
Okay.
Notice the feeling of your body sinking into the mattress,
Okay.
the rhythm of your breath, the thoughts that drift through your mind.
So just like we discussed earlier, it's
Yeah.
about becoming a curious observer,
Right.
not a forceful controller.
Exactly.
Just notice, notice, notice.
Exactly. And remember, it's a practice.
Right.
Some nights you'll drift off right away.
Yeah.
Other nights you might catch glimpses of that in-between state. Be patient with yourself.
Yeah.
And those small victories, even a fleeting moment of awareness, is a step in the right direction.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive.
Yeah.
I never thought the act of falling asleep could hold so much potential.
It's a beautiful reminder that awareness is available to us in every moment,
Yeah.
even those we typically consider mundane or unconscious.
This technique from the Vigyan Bhairava Tantra shows us that even falling asleep can be a doorway to deeper self-understanding
Totally.
and a more fulfilling life.
Absolutely. And as you drift off to sleep tonight,
Yeah.
consider this. What if the true journey of self-discovery begins not when we fall asleep, but in those liminal spaces where wakefulness meets the dream world?
Wow.
What might you discover about yourself in that realm of infinite possibility?
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. See you next time.